Fort Bend County is one of the most diverse counties in the entire North America. It is so much safe to say over here that this county we literally build because there are so many people, so many nationalities, and so many things going on. It is such a pleasure to be living here without being biased. And for this, we have a very interesting guest today with us, Mr. Taral Patel. It's a pleasure to have you, Taral, over here. And now you are such a young man, such a smart young man, a bright guy, and running for Precinct 3.
Yes, ma'am.
So tell me more about it. How did you come about with this idea that you want to run for an office? And what are the future aspirations like?
Absolutely. First and foremost, thank you for having me here. It's always a pleasure to work with NTV and interview with you folks. I am biased. I'm Fort Bend County, born and raised. Went to elementary, middle, and high school here. It's a place I've called home my entire life. And, I never thought in my life I would be running for office. But I got so much from this community growing up here. I had the opportunity to, live, work, play, learn here. And Fort Bend County is the most unique place in America for me. We have religious diversity. We have demographic diversity. 29.7% of our population is foreign born. And that foreign born population is about 33.7% of the purchasing power of the county.
Yeah.
That doesn't include me. I was born here, right? But that's my parents' generation who came here and put in that hard work from immigrating from across the world. And since that time, because of America, because of Fort Bend County, I've had the opportunity to work at local government in Fort Bend County, state government for the state of Texas, and federal government in the White House. Because of all those experiences together, my experience, I think, is really important to make sure as Fort Bend County grows, we're about to be 1 million people.
Yeah.
We have to make a lot of strategic decisions.
And there have been a lot of redistricting has been happening.
That's right.
And for some odd reason, oddly enough, redistricting happens, but we still pop out everywhere.
That's right. Yeah. And like Precinct 3 is an amazing example for me because that's where I grew up. And I have always experienced and lived this diversity. This is actually the only almost majority Asian precinct in the state of Texas.
Okay, last I know that you were working with Judge KP George and you were in his office and you were serving the people over there. Then I know that you went to the White House on some sort of an assignment. And now, why did you choose Precinct 3 to run for?
So Precinct 3 is my home, right? Okay. That's where my parents live. That's where we worship. That's where we pray. And Precinct 3 has given me so much. And when the redistricting happened, this precinct used to be Katy, Simonton, Fulshear. Yeah. And now it's Sugar Land, Stafford, Missouri City. I went to Mission Glen Elementary, just to give you an example, right? Yeah. Neighborhood that is within and close to Precinct 3 is our community does not have the representation here. We are a almost Asian majority precinct. And unfortunately, we have an incumbent commissioner who's voted against our interests time in and time out again.
Such as
during COVID, there were a lot of hate crimes against Asian Americans.
Yes.
There was a resolution we worked on saying we stand with the Asian community and other communities that are being affected. He voted against it. One of the only votes to say that we don't stand against racism.
He's very popular. He has been in the office since 97 and he has his own vote bank. So people must be liking him. That's why they are electing him constantly. What makes Taral Patel a new, bright, young guy to be given this space?
Absolutely. I think that's a valid question. I'm running for the people of Precinct 3. We have ideas like if you talk to anybody that lives in Harris County, they've heard of the word gold card. We don't have a hospital district in Fort Bend. We don't have a robust public transportation system in Fort Bend, and we're growing to 1 million people. Right now, if you want to report a pothole or a non-emergency item, you have to figure out 3 or 4 different phone numbers. You might hear back, you might not hear back, but we live in the modern era where technology is used. It should be as easy as downloading a 311 app, taking a picture of the pothole or the broken tree or whatever it might be, just reporting to the county. The county figures out, is this a mud issue, a city issue, a county issue, gets it fixed, and you should get an email or text or notification back with a picture of the solved problem and a response so that you as a constituent are aware that your problem has been solved.
So have you done the costing for all this?
Yeah, so many communities, the things I'm proposing are not rocket science. For example, for a hospital district, 125 counties in the state of Texas, including Republican counties, Montgomery County, Brazoria County. There are not 125 blue counties in Texas. I think we all know that.
Yeah.
Have hospital districts. 311 systems. There are jurisdictions across the country that have these kinds of things. This is a technology-driven tool. In fact, I would argue it is more expensive to maintain the status quo when our population is growing and we don't have easy ways of fixing people's problems.
Because I was reading through your campaign website and you said that you are going to fix it within 24 hours.
Yeah.
Time. That's like realistically, for a lot of people, probably it's not possible. So how Taral Patel is going to make it happen?
So again, I am the first person to say other people have done this well, and we can learn from examples. City of Houston is a wonderful example of that. Is if you see a pothole and you actively report it as a constituent or a resident, with a 24 to 48 hour time frame, that pothole will be fixed because there is a good reporting system. But it asked for constituents to also be involved in the process.
A lot of people, but there are a lot of people in City of Houston, they complain the security and the crime rate is so much higher. They have more issues over there. They find Fort Bend County a lot more easier on their nerves.
Absolutely. And we want Fort Bend County to do that. But as we get 1 million people and beyond, we have to make sure we keep up with that growth. If we continue to remain a sleepy rural county that does not have technology-driven services, that growth is going to happen here as well. It's happening.
I agree. Technology is a basic requirement nowadays because if we can have an app and we can just let people know that, hey, this is not right. Okay, so I'm going to talk about some more about, like you said on your campaign website, that you have a proven track record for working for people. Like what else? Like COVID happened, RV came. So what was your contribution during that?
So I'll give you the example for COVID, right? Is we actually got the first case of COVID in the entire state of Texas. And I was in the room when we got the call from the hospital saying that, hey, your community is the first case of COVID. And because of that, we brought together medical experts and we set up some of the first testing sites in Texas. This is at high schools, this is at clinics, this is at so many places that are accessible to our community. And when the vaccine came out, I personally coordinated the mobile vaccine clinic to go to various temples, masjids, churches, community centers, so that we could take the resources to the residents. And that's why over time, we became the #1 per capita vaccinated county in the state of Texas. And look, I worked some of those days, 20 hours a day, right? But we have amazing EMS staff, police staff, and others that helped us with the first response. When it comes to their salary, we have to do a better job of investing in our people who are at the front lines of these. And I'm telling you this because I've worked with these people directly and how hard they put their lives on the line for all of us. And we as a county need to make sure we invest in them because they invest in us.
No, I agree because you have been proposing this as well even for the safety responders and first responders and even for the area police and all that. Anything which is related to safety, you have been proposing pay raise, better training and better equipment and all that. But again, my question is you're running for Precinct 3.
Right.
So that would increase the budget.
Yeah, so the thing is in Fort Bend County, as we grow, we are going to have more demands and needs. The county has done a good job of reducing the tax rate to what it is now. I'm not talking about school district or MUD, right? Those are things that the county does not directly control.
Yeah.
But when it comes to county taxes, from 66 cents in the 90s, it's gone down to 44 cents. We want to keep that going because we want this place to be a place where everybody can live, work, and play in an efficient manner. County cannot control your price of milk or gallon of gas.
Yeah.
But one example I can give you where we can make a direct impact in people's lives is the county has a lot of control over our toll roads. Right now, you're paying 44 cents an axle. Your car has 2 axles.
That was my next question. Like you have been proposing this as well, like you're going to freeze or reduce toll road. How is county making you think county is extracting a lot of money through these toll roads from the people?
I believe so. And an example that has happened across the country, a way to make sure people are part of the Easy Tag system, my proposal is to give a 10% discount to all Easy Tag users. The reason some of these toll roads increase and some of the issues that they have is a lot of delinquent users, people who don't pay up, people who are not part of the system. So my proposal is to get more people that are part of the Easy Tag system so that they have an incentive for that 10% discount. And you and I, who might have an Easy Tag on our car, right, to get a 10% discount. But because more people join the system, the toll road revenues also grow, while all of us get a 10% discount and we get some relief where the county can actually provide relief.
But that's a smarter way of saying, because it means bringing more people in the tax net.
In the system, correct.
In the tax net.
Each person gets that 10% discount as well.
Yeah.
So it is a win for consumers and residents. It's a win for the toll road so that we can continue to have efficient flow of transportation, and our community as a whole so that we have options of transportation.
Okay. So I was just thinking, I have to ask you about some of your bold ideas and all those. I have a bunch of questions right here, but I have to take a very short break. Just stay with us. We're talking to Taral Patel with us. He's running for Precinct 3 in Fort Bend County. We're going to talk to him more about what are his bold ideas and how he's going to work through it. Stay tuned.
The Made to Move sales event at Big Star Cadillac is all about the savings. Enjoy 1.9% APR financing on all 2023 and 2024 Cadillac CT4 and CT5 sedans and all 2023 and 2024 XT4, XT5, and XT6 crossovers. Lower your payment with 1.9% APR limited term financing at Houston's Cadillac to your door dealer, Gulf Freeway, just 2 minutes south of the Beltway.
Shop smarter when you shop at Big Star. Shop BigStarCadillac.com.
Hey! Okay.
If you love me enough to tolerate my perfect little pets and all their glorious dander, then of course you'll visit nhtsa.gov/the right seat to make sure I'm in the right car seat. Hey, Bobo. Do trees tell each other stories?
I'm sorry. I'm afraid I don't know that.
Hey, why don't we go find out? Listen.
Do clouds take naps?
I couldn't tell you.
Dad, do stars visit their friends?
Look!
Welcome back. We are talking to Taral Patel. He's running for Precinct 3 in Fort Bend County. Taral, tell me more about your bold ideas. I was just going through the list, and then you also spoke about the transparency in budgeting. Tell us more about it. Do you think there is not enough transparency right now?
I think there's always more that we need to do. We live in a diverse community that needs to be more involved. We have a lot of smart people that live in our community that have bold ideas. What makes Fort Bend great are the people, not the politicians. The more we can have people through town halls, online surveys, and meetings proposing ideas and solutions, our bond projects will be better. Our budget processes will be better. Not everybody can show up at 1 p.m. on a Tuesday, a weekday, to Commissioner's Court to voice their opinion. We need to think a little bit creatively and outside the box to get people.
That was actually because I'm a Fort Bend County resident as well, because they have those meetings. Those are the time when I'm at work.
Yeah.
So how can I attend those things?
So one thing we did when I was chief of staff of Fort Bend County is we finally began live streaming every meeting. So whether you're in Katy or Kendallton or Sugar Land or Stafford, at least you can tune in and watch the recording. That wasn't the option before for budget hearings, special meetings, emergency meetings, and a whole variety of meetings. That's one step for transparency. I think another step for transparency is when we're proposing almost $1 billion bond projects, we need to have town hall discussions and solicit public input, not just have the commissioner decide what projects they want.
Yeah, because that was my next question, how it was never proposed. There are 4 commissioners and then there is a judge there.
Yeah.
So why it was never proposed earlier?
Look, I can't speak on behalf of any of those individuals. However, I'm telling you is that anytime there is a bond proposal, drainage, parks, mobility, you name it.
That's all the money is going there.
We're talking about billions of dollars, right, adding up over the years. The public should have a front seat at the table to help educate the commissioners on what are their priorities in their community. And that's my commitment to the residents of Fort Bend County and Precinct 3.
Okay, we are going to talk about, you have a lot of plans you have been talking about on your campaign, because you have been talking about women empowerment and aging infrastructure. 311 we just discussed, because that is an important aspect. But tell me about diversity and women empowerment. What are your plans for that?
Absolutely. Fort Bend County is one of the few counties that are at this crux of urban jurisdictions where we don't have a lot of resources for women. Our region is known as one of the worst places for maternal mortality rates. We are struggling with mental health issues. We don't have programs that support women entrepreneurs, for example. My proposal is to create a women's resource office that helps coordinate these kinds of programs and resources for women in Fort Bend County. We know state of Texas has stripped away lots of women's rights. We know federal government has also done the same to the Supreme Court and others. There's a lot we can do at the local level to make sure young girls and women of all ages, right, have the resources and guidance and mentorship they need to be successful so that they can also be business owners, even if they might be single moms or other situations, right? A more successful woman or man, really anybody of any creed or category, the more beneficial they are going to be to our community and our county.
I agree with that. Okay, tell me something about, you're talking about this drainage and flood mitigation. And you said that you have plans for a flood control district and how county-wide watershed study would come in handy. Tell us more about that.
So we have all lived through multiple hurricanes.
Yes.
Right? I recall every time there's an evacuation, we all get up on Highway 36. And before we even get there, it turns into a parking lot on our supposed evacuation route.
Yeah.
So one of the studies that we did was when we talk about bonds or transportation projects is how do we expand evacuation routes so they can actually function as evacuation routes, because we know we live on the Gulf Coast and it's hurricane season.
Yeah, and it's hurricane season. Hurricane season is right here, right now.
We're in the middle of it, right? With tropical storms we're hearing about on a daily basis. We need to do more because we know it's a matter of time until the next one strikes.
How about the transportation thing you have been talking about? Like you want to bring more park and ride places and all that.
Park and rides are one of the most popular options in Fort Bend County, but we lack a lot of these options in different parts of our community. And also, think about it, is, my dad, permanent Fort Bend County resident, when they go to a park and ride to get to work in downtown Houston, he used to work with HPD, is they would sit in their car with the AC on until the bus came, they would jump on the bus and get to where they needed to go. We're talking about re-envisioning and expanding park and rides so that for my generation, other generations, you have, a coffee store, a bookstore, different things where small businesses are able to succeed. Yeah, instead of you just sitting in your car and waiting for the bus. We're trying to think innovatively about connecting people to services and not just throwing a project out here or throwing a project out there. And that requires community participation and planning. I don't know if you know this, Fort Bend County does not have a strategic plan for watershed, transportation, economic development, any of those kinds of things.
So how is that possible that there are 4 commissions sitting in Fort Bend County and they haven't thought about it?
Again, that's why I'm talking about new leadership. We need to bring ideas that have not been thought about, even though maybe for us it's common sense, right? But we're about to be at 1 million people. And if we don't start doing smart thinking, strategic thinking now.
And master planning,
we're going to be caught behind the curve and always will be playing catch up. And I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure we try to be proactive and address that growth strategically and intentionally, as opposed to playing catch up like a lot of jurisdictions are doing. We can get ahead of our problems, but this is that time before we get to 1 million people. We can do it now.
And I feel like bringing in new contenders, that might increase the better chances for people to get better services.
Absolutely. And look, you can just look at the numbers of Fort Bend County. In the 70s, we had 52,000 people. Now we have a diverse population of all walks of life that are moving here. The reason Fort Bend County has changed so dynamically is because of our residents. They're demanding new services, new information. One example I will give you is our ballots, when you are going to vote, we have people from all walks of life that are American citizens. Those ballots should be translated in various languages so that all people can participate in the democratic process. Places like Harris County, other counties across the state of Texas and in the country have more access to their residents and voters. We don't have that in Fort Bend County. And again, I can't speak behalf of any of the commissioners or the judge, right? But my goal is to bring that bold new vision to Fort Bend so we actually become a 21st century county and not just say it. We need to be it.
Okay, let's just go, Taral, with all the responsibilities and authorities of the commissioners will have and their court has it, because it has got you. If you will be elected, so it would be governing and policy making body of the county. That's what we are talking about. Then you will be setting basically the tax rates and most of the fees for the county.
Right.
And you can also build and maintain roads and bridges. Tell us about the infrastructure thing you have been talking about.
Infrastructure is how our society operates. Our roads, our transportation, our drainage, our ditches, Brazos River. That is the bedrock, no pun intended, of our society. And we have aging infrastructure. We are very blessed right now where a lot of federal money is coming to help us out. However, there's types of infrastructure that are also new we need to think about, like broadband access. I hear from
Exactly. Broadband. It's very
Sugarland, in Aliana.
We do not even have it in all the areas.
Some places only have single providers. We don't have fiber. We have a lot of people who work from home that I hear from, right? That need good internet access and connectivity. And the county needs to take a leadership role in making sure we provide fiber optics. We work with the providers. We work with the state broadband office so that all of the pockets of our county get access to these resources.
So for the broadband, I feel like there is this kind of a monopoly going on. I feel like that company doesn't come here and you're just stuck with the other ones. And then you're like, hey, what happened? Why is that? It has never been thought of or what?
Yeah. So a lot of this, stems back to when some of these industries were created. And our goal right now is, because of the influx of federal money to help deal with broadband, is to highlight where are all the spots where people don't have good internet access. And I'm telling you, there's a lot of folks in Precinct 3 and across Fort Bend County that don't have good internet access, including kids who may need it for after-school homework and other programs.
My area is bad.
See,
there's an issue, always.
So we need to bridge that gap very intentionally by going to the state broadband office and saying that, hey, we need you to come out here and make sure that these industries that are developing really focus and prioritize Fort Bend County.
Tell me, Taral, I'm talking about Commissioner Andy Myers.
Sure.
He's very popular and he's been in the office for a long time, because he is claiming on his website, like, for an average of about $50 per month per home, the county funds the entire justice system, including all of the court, the DA's office, constable, sheriff, and jail. And the county also funds a county-wide road system, library system, drainage district, and emergency medical services. He is also claiming that he led all these efforts to reduce the county tax rate from the region's highest of 66 cents to the region's lowest of 44 cents, saving county taxpayer over $1 billion.
So those are, Commissioner Myers is entitled to say what he wants, but the record, I don't think, reflects that. And the reason I say that is because Commissioner Court, one commissioner does not make the overall decision for the county. It requires everybody to come to the table to make these decisions. The other thing I want to pinpoint is we're a growing county. We are one of the lowest paid for our law enforcement, one of the lowest paid for our EMS. It took 2018 to start changing some of this because that can was kicked down the road for a long time. So if we want, our EMS and our ambulances to show up on time, we want to make sure we attract the best and brightest in first response emergency services. We need to make sure we actually invest in those folks so that all of our residents are safe. And look, Commissioner Myers has been there for a long time.
Yeah.
We know that. But this is a different precinct. He has represented the Katy, Fulshear, and Simonton area for a long time.
Yeah.
Precinct 3 is no longer any of that community. Precinct 3 is Sugarland, it's Stafford, it's Missouri City, it's part of Richmond and Aliana. It's a very diverse area that I talk to people every day. Many of them.
Taxes, Taral, are already very high.
Yeah.
So basically what you're proposing, the taxes will be higher after.
No, I'm actually proposing a lower tax rate. If you look at any of my information, it's a lower tax rate. But I've worked, again, in local, state, and federal government. There's a lot of grants out there that the county has not gone after. There's a lot of public-private partnerships. For example, one project I was deeply involved in is the Fort Bend Epicenter, which is a great example of a public-private partnership where county taxpayer dollars for the initial project were not even touched. Right? For something that is like the size of NRG Stadium with 10,000 seats in the middle of Fort Bend County. So we need to think innovatively about how we do this stuff and make sure as we decrease the tax rate, we invest it strategically in what we actually need for our growing county. But then we think creatively through things like tax reinvestment zones, through public-private partnerships, through federal grants that are available. When we want to talk about, for example, climate issues, Fort Bend County, many people don't know this, has one of the highest per capita EVs per capita of residents, right?
Yes, a state of Texas at least.
Yeah. We don't have a charging infrastructure.
Yeah.
But there's a ton of federal money, if we can get Fort Bend County to apply for it, where they can take advantage of those federal funds, not at our local taxpayer dollar expense.
Projects, basically.
Exactly. And there's more too, right? I'm talking about flooding projects, road projects, of course, green projects, and so many other things that the county shouldn't be on the hook. Our local taxpayers shouldn't be on the hook for paying for those services when there are opportunities out there federally, privately, to pull that money down for the benefit of our residents. And after working for the administration, I've already started helping the county, setting different opportunities, and they have been the recipient of so much funding since then. And I want to make sure Fort Bend County goes to that level where we pull in even more funds from every level and provide relief at the toll road, at the tax booth, all these kinds of things for our residents.
Thank you so much, Taral. It's a pleasure talking to you. It is so great to have you over here.
Thank you for having me.
Now you have heard from Taral Patel. He has a very valid point. Like, the taxpayer doesn't have to pay all the money. It can come with different investments. And there are always innovative ideas. So when you pick up the candidates who are younger, and have got better ideas, situation can become better. Thank you for watching with me, Sofia Jamal, Truth Be Told.